everybody, and welcome on back. Today is the first of the famous gear videos. Today I want to talk about my big 3 gear items, plus one additional bonus one. For those who are less familiar, the big 3 items are, traditionally speaking, the most heavy items in your pack. And so that includes your backpack, your sleep system, and your shelter. So we're going to talk about those 3, plus, like I said, a 4th one that I think fits into this general category. Before we get going too much here, I want to put out a disclaimer. As I was preparing for my own hike and doing all of the research on these items, I, like you might be, watched a ton of videos about what other people were taking, gear that changed, gear that was specifically not recommended, things like that. And the thing to always remember is that everyone's experience is their own. Someone that I watched on YouTube or read about, their perfect ideal gear list probably won't work perfectly and ideally for me. And the gear items that I'm going to talk about here that are working for me might not work for you. So just something to keep in mind, everyone talking about their gear items, all we have to talk about is our own experience. So I'm going to share with you the things that I have found and the things that I like, but please do your own research and try things out, because you might be surprised as to what does or doesn't work for you. Okay, disclaimer aside, let's get started. So the first item that I want to talk about is my backpack. So this is the Granite Gear Crown 2. They did just come out with a Crown 3, so the Crown 2s are on sale right now. Blue just happened to be the color that was available, and that was fine. I went and picked this up in Damascus. Okay, I went to pick this up in Damascus. It is specifically a women's bag, so it is made for the general size and shape of women specifically, which I appreciate. It is a 55-liter bag. That said, as you can tell, the top looks kind of funky and depressed right now because I took off the crown. And that's because I don't like the crowns. On the one hand, I just don't feel like I need that much space. On the other hand, it saves weight. And on another hand, that someone might have if you have 3 hands, if I have that space, I'm gonna fill it. So that's part of my reasoning for not having the crown on the bag. I don't plan on hiking with it. But that means that it drops the size a little bit, so it's down to about 50 liters, and that I'm happy with. It does have a roll top and a clasp and a strap over the top, which I will be attaching part of my gear underneath. It has a nice mesh pocket in the front, 2 good sized pockets on the side, which fit 2 smart water bottles each. And one of the nice things about this pack is the ventilation. So this is a framed pack, which adds a little bit of weight. That said, this pack is not very heavy. One of the reasons I liked it is because it was a lighter weight pack, but the carrying weight capacity for it was still decently high. So I knew that I could still carry the gear items that I was going to be buying in this lightweight of a pack. So it does have a frame on the inside. That said, the frame is removable if I ever was going lighter weight. But it does have good ventilation along the back, which I liked. I like having some sort of structure along the back so that I am not just feeling the items in my pack along my spine. So I like that. And probably the other big thing about this pack is the hip belt. So there are 2 good sized pockets on the hip belt. And if you can see here, this entire hip belt comes out of the bag. So if I ever lose or gain weight, I can take out the hip belt and adjust it so that it fits whatever size I am in the moment. And that is a big plus for me, because that means that this pack can grow with me throughout the years as I change. If I lose a bunch of weight on the AT, I don't have to then leave this pack and get a new one. I really think that this is setting me up well to stand the test of time with this bag. So, Granite Gear, pretty excited about it. Got it down in Damascus. We're gonna give it a shot. Okay. Now we're going to talk about my shelter system, and this is somewhat controversial, polarizing. I am a hammock camper. I don't have to be. I have slept perfectly fine in tents before, and I know that I sleep really well in hammocks. That is not the case for everybody, so if you're considering a hammock system, make sure you can sleep well in it, because that is one of the biggest things. I know that I need good sleep on trail to be able to complete it well, and I know that I can get good sleep in a hammock. So I feel pretty safe in that regard. I also have plenty of experience to know how it goes, kind of fiddling with them and adjusting them, setting them up, taking them down. To start with, the straps that I have are just kind of in a bundle here. This is one of them. I have two tree straps, one pair. These are the Helios. These are ultralight straps that I have no idea where I got. I didn't know I had these. I found them in my gear. One of the nice things is that they have a connector here for the hammock and a knot system so that I can string up my hammock and then pull on this string, not this one, it's actually hanging in here, but a different string, and tighten my hammock. And it works kind of similar to like those Chinese finger knots that we used to play with as kids. So, hammock straps. The hammock I have is the Jungle Nest. Again, just the one I have. It comes with an attached bug net, and it comes with this stuff sack already on it. That said, I may be taking it off just to save weight, and also because this is not actually the way I'm going to be storing it. You'll see kind of that process probably with my shakedown hikes, but the shape of the packing of this will probably change. But this is what it comes in. I've been really happy with it. It connects seamlessly with the straps that I have, just because I still have, I've stuck with the brand. But it's done really well for me. I've camped in it. It's great. Now, my tarp system, this is not packaged very well again. I'll show it when I go do some shakedown hikes, but there will be a specific way of packing up my tent system or my hammock system that I talk about later on. But this is just a Chill Gorilla tarp. It does have two doors that come down on the sides. I don't know the exact size of it. The material it's made out of does not hold water. It's not Dyneema, but it doesn't hold water, and it shakes it off like that. I have camped under this in intense rainstorms, wind blowing sideways, and it has kept me dry and comfortable. So I'm sticking with it. It's a little bit awkward to retrofit with the rest of my gear, but it's what I have. It works great, and I'm gonna make it work. The last thing I'll say about my shelter, which all that falls under, is that this is something I'm going to try, and this is why my stuff is not packaged the way that I say it's going to be on trail. I'm going to try these snake skins that I recently got. Picked them up from REI. It's by Hennessy Hammock brand. Basically, it's like a stuff sack, so that instead of taking my tarp and hammock down separately, I can potentially just roll it all together into this. I'll show you guys when I start testing this out, but I'm hoping this works. Okay, and next up is my sleep system. Now, my sleeping pad kept blowing away, so I'm gonna go grab it real quick. Okay, so why say words when you can just show it? So I have a foam pad. This is about a 1/2 inch thick, maybe even a little bit more. Super ultra light. It weighs actually 10 ounces. Wind. Anyway, this is a super ultralight pad. It actually was a big rectangular pad that my family just had in the basement that I cut out to be essentially the shape of my sleeping bag itself. So I knew I wasn't taking extra weight. And it's fantastic. I have not had a luxurious sleeping pad before, to be honest. This is probably the most luxurious I've had to date. And I'm happy with that. It's worked well for me. I've tested it in the hammock. Actually, the material that it's made out of doesn't slide along the material of the hammock, which I really like. So that when I put it in there, I do have to make sure I put it in the right spot, but I'm not slipping all around inside of my hammock, which is really nice. So I roll it up tighter, but this does get rolled up, and this is what goes on top of my pack underneath that top strap. So, sleeping pad. Now, my sleeping bag is here. I do have a Sea to Summit Thermolite Extreme sleeping bag liner that is pretty much just going to stay inside the bag at all times, except for the summer months. I may send it home, but for now it's in here. The bag itself is by Western Mountaineering. Now, this bag has a big question mark. It was a gift from a family friend / neighbor, and I don't know the degree rating of it, officially at least. So I did a whole bunch of research. I could not figure it out. If anybody on the internet has any ideas, here's what it looks like. Let me know what you think. My best guess is that it's a 20-degree bag. I have tested it down to 30 degrees, and it kept me nice and warm with just my sleeping pad inside the hammock itself, which is pretty good for a hammock because hammocks are known for being a bit colder. Usually people have the underquilts that go underneath to protect your core from wind and air kind of hitting the sides of your hammock. But like I said, I was comfortable down to 30 degrees with comfortable, not just, surviving, which is what the degree ratings usually are. I was comfortable in this bag with this liner and my sleeping pad. So I know I'm good down to 30 degrees. I think if I was in a shelter or something like that, I would be comfortable even below that point. All that to be said, kind of a question mark of a sleeping bag, but it's worked really well for me. I'm very happy with it. Western Mountaineering is an excellent brand. So, sleeping bag. Something that I don't have in my sleep system is a pillow. And I don't have a super strong reason. I just never have. I've never had an official camp pillow. Every time I go backpacking or camping, I'm just using a jacket that's rolled up or my clothing bag that is, inside of a buff or something like that. So I'm not going to be taking a separate pillow onto the trip or onto the AT. And I'm happy with that. I mean, why bring something if I've been happy without it for this long? So let me package some of this up really quickly, and then we're going to talk about that fourth bonus item. All right, last but not least, I've included this item in my Big 3 + 1 video because the reason the Big 3 are the Big 3s, they're considered the most important and also the heaviest items in your pack. That said, something not new has started to gain in popularity, and if you pay attention to the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, you will see that they are now recommending these. Dun dun dun! It's a bear canister. This is the Bear Vault 475. It's that middle size that they just recently came out with between the small and the large. Here's my thoughts on bear canisters. Yes, they're heavy. And to be honest, as far as the things that matter to me, that's the only downside. This has so many other positives that outweigh that bad that I'm going to take it with me. So some of the things I like about this, it will get stored in my bag up and down like this, which will ensure waterproofing for all of my food. It's plenty of space for my food, my hygiene, anything that's going to smell. And I mentioned this in my ultralight versus lightweight versus traditional video. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. In thinking about the gear that I'm taking with me, I want to minimize the things that I know are going to annoy me. And even on good days, I have plenty of experience with this. Even on good days, hanging a bear bag drives me up the wall. So I have just taken that completely out of my routine with this. I don't have to hang it anywhere. I just have to walk it an appropriate distance away, set it on the ground, and that's it. Bears can't get into it. Mice can't chew a hole through the corner of my bag. Something else I like about it is that it is dual purpose. Some people I have seen take a luxury item of a chair with them. And while I'm certainly not going to do that, I was actually this entire time sitting on the top of this. So this is also doubling as a stool for me. So dual purpose, minimizing something that I hate doing at camp anyway. And I really trust it to protect my things. So big 4 potentially, but there's my bear canister. So that's all of my things. That's my big 4. I'm sure that people will have opinions and thoughts. Just trust that I have put in the research and a ton of thought into what I want, what I need, and what I invested in. I believe in all of my gear. I also am not so proud that I can't change my mind later on if one of these gear items doesn't work for me. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hopefully, if there are other AT hopeful folks out there, or just backpackers who are looking to figure out what gear they want to take, maybe this will be helpful. Again, this is a lightweight setup, not ultralight. Could be traditional, but this is what I've chosen. This is what I'm happy with, and this is my gear. All right, thanks you guys for watching my videos again. I really appreciate all of you guys, and yeah, I'll see you next time.